So let me see. I'll put this on speaker view. Um, let me see. So this is beautiful. And when we talked about doing these sessions, I immediately knew that I wanted to do uh, this particular session, metamorphosis and transformation. And that is because I had this amazing experience some years ago. Now I'm looking at an old nature journal and I'm going to share the story with you. But it's an old nature journal from 2019. And the story goes like this. My father, who passed away last year, when he was alive, he was my uh, natural history companion. We used to go out into our nearby nature and we would just wander together and be amazed and look at things. And we were wandering one day and we came across something shiny metallic. And I'm going to share my screen to show you because I've got some photos of it. I'm going to share my screen now. Jules, can you see my screen or is it me that you can see?
Yeah. No, see your screen, Bethan, you're fine.
Perfect. So this is what we saw. This tiny chrysalis, which is golden. This particular photo doesn't show exactly how golden it was. It was golden all over. It was like a jewel. It was amazing. And my dad said, snip off, it's hanging in our backyard. He said, snip off that little branch and take it inside and watch it. And I had a little like hesitation, and then I did. I snipped off this little branch and I took it inside and I put it in a shoebox and I had it there and I was checking on it every day. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I had this terrible sinking feeling. I went down, I looked at it, and instead of being golden, it was black. And I just had this devastation. I said to myself, oh, I've killed it. And I interfered. I should have left it outside. I was terribly sad about it. But it wasn't dead. It was that the butterfly had maybe the outside of the chrysalis was thinning or something, but the butterfly was emerging and its wings were pressed against the cocoon, the chrysalis. And the black that I could see was actually the black of the butterfly itself, still bundled up in there. And this is what it started to look like. Can you see how it's black here? And this butterfly is called a common crow butterfly, and its scientific name. I had a biology professor, and he said, if you don't know the scientific name, if you don't know how to pronounce it, just pronounce it really confidently. So this butterfly was called that wasn't confidently Euploea, Euploea core. Anyway, this is the name of the butterfly, and it's black. And so here it is. Its wings were pressing as the chrysalis was thinning. And then so I was so engaged with this process. We took it outside and I started to observe it, but I was also nature journaling and I was just so engaged with watching it. I didn't do a proper finished nature journal, but I was fascinated looking at these again because some of the observations are so interesting. So this says 9:48 a.m. It's like this part is being unzipped. So this part was being unzipped as we went around. This part is bulging more and more. So this bit here was started to bulge out. And then 9:54, it's so exciting. So these bits started opening up like like one of those kids' toys that sort of stretch out bit by bit. Anyway, so this was one stage. And you can see that these parts were opening as the chrysalis expanded. 9:59 a.m. now. So I was scribbling these down, but this is how I was for the entire day. Like I was completely fascinated by this whole process. So 10:28 a.m. This part is thinning bit by bit, and I can see through it now. It was just amazing. So I'm going to move my journal. These 9:33, 10:33, these dots seem more prominent. They're pores. So these bits were getting bigger. This part is separating. So I'm going to swap now. This part separating black, black and shiny. It reminds me of Catwoman's suit. um, Now, where are we? So, this is the whole day. I'm serious. Look, 2 p.m. It was like almost done, and it was 9 something, and it's 2 p.m. And then again, it's unfolding like those kids' toys. I can see something pulsating in here. Honestly, I cannot tell you. It was one of life's most amazing experiences, and I was completely and utterly enraptured by it. So then this what happened. Out pops this butterfly, and I don't know if you've seen this, but it was all crumpled and crinkled, and I thought I'd never seen it before, and I thought that it was broken. But it wasn't broken. The butterfly needs some time um, for the wings to get pumped up. And after about 5 minutes, it started to stretch out. Can you see how they're still a bit crinkled but stretching out? And then this was it. And it stayed hanging from its open chrysalis for the whole day and for the rest of the day. And then I didn't want to leave it outside because I was so wildly in love with it and I didn't want anything to happen to it. And it was nighttime. And so I actually brought the stem and everything back and I put it in the box again, hanging. And the next morning I went in and it was still hanging. And then I think it was cold. It was July, so it was midwinter here. And I think it was cold. I think they need to stretch out in the warmth. So I took out the stem and I put it outside the next day and I put it in the sun. And then I went inside. And then when I went out, it had flown away. And honestly, I'll never, ever forget that witnessing something truly miraculous happening. So what I thought we could do today is I want to draw this butterfly because I never went back to it. And I don't know if you've got some nature journal pages that you had planned to do and never did. And even though this was one of my life's truly miraculous, witnessings, I never did it. So what I hope today is that you've brought something along of your own, maybe, or you have an idea about what you would like to nature journal, because these sessions are all about just spending time together, getting inspired for today's theme, and sharing and just being together for a bit. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this little butterfly in my nature journal, and I invite you to either journal along with me, journal this butterfly along with me, or journal whatever you have with you. So I'm going to just go ahead and start. And what I hope is that you will use the chat for chit-chattering with each other, asking questions, talking to each other. If you want to ask me a question, you can type it in the chat and Jules will ask me. And I'm really happy for you to do that while I'm drawing. And I'm just going to chatter away. I'm going to be drawing and telling you what I'm doing. But if you're drawing your own thing, just have me as background noise and just have this as a little time for companionable nature journaling together. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. I'm really happy to answer them. Jules can ask me. And yeah, let's just use this as a time to hang out, spend time together. I love that we're in so many different countries. And yeah, you can do your own project or you can journal this beautiful butterfly along with me. Just going to adjust my stuff a little bit. I used to have a thing where I always tried to nature journal directly with a pen. And the reason I did that was because I was a recovering perfectionist and I didn't want I didn't want to give myself any opportunities for correction because I didn't feel like art should be corrected, that we don't, there's no such thing as a mistake. You know, I was coaching myself. And so I used to directly draw with a pen. And recently I've started drawing with the pencil again. And I've been finding it really nice. And so I'm drawing today with a pencil. And tend not to, um, I tend not to correct my lines too often, even though I can now journaling with a pencil. But it just feels, I don't know, something about it feels good at this time in my nature journaling life.
So, Bethan, just a couple of things that have come up in the chat.
Yeah.
First of all, Idrin, I hope I pronounced that right, says they've actually seen one of these beautiful butterflies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it looks fantastic. Yeah, and Dave has just made a really interesting, very thought-provoking comment saying, when is there metamorphosis in human life? The internet answer is, all of us experience metamorphosis several times during our lives, exchanging one identity from another. So as we go from a child to, teenager to adult. And that's quite an interesting thought because, of course, we do, don't we, all the time?
Yeah, that is so interesting. I'm going to tell you a story about my own metamorphosis over the years because last year we went to Europe. My son's dad, and and we were in London. When I was 19, I went and lived in London, and oh gosh, I was a bundle of anxieties, self-consciousness. It was, I just remember the feeling of being 19 and just being utterly self-conscious and, you know, didn't know anything. I just felt I was seeing an Englishman who was a bit older and he was totally embarrassed by me because I was young and silly and making mistakes. And anyway, I remember that feeling of being that person. And then being in London in my mid 40s later, it was such a weird thing. And it really put for me the transformations in myself into an amazing, just amazingly clear view because I was going through the same places I did when I was a teenager and feeling all these anxieties and awkwardness and yet I didn't feel any of that stuff as a, you know, in midlife. I felt completely different and it was amazing. I just felt so like self-assured and I mean, I still have anxieties, but it was weird going through the same landscape, but with a totally different mindset. And that to me is a kind of metamorphosis. So I'm doing these little details in pencil and I'm going to go over it with pen in a minute. But I don't want to be too fussy with all the details. What I was thinking I might do, and I've done this before, I think I might make one little square right over the top of my butterfly and just add color in this section. Sometimes I do this and I think it looks really cool. So this is the section I'm going to add detail to. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this super fine pen. This is a pigment liner 0.05, so it's a really tiny, tiny nib. And another one of those recovering perfectionist things that I did was I used to use this all the time, this teeny tiny pen, and I then started using a fatter pen so that I couldn't be fussy with details. But am I getting fussy again? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I've I think I'm just that midlife woman who can do whatever. I was in training. I was in training before, but now I just do whatever. So I'm going to outline all these lovely lines.
So Bethan, Claire's just asked you, you did tell us the name of the butterfly, and it was, I can't remember. It was really,
Yeah.
just remind us what it was called again.
Yeah. So
Thank
this is the
you.
scientific name, Euploea core, Euploeacore. That's the scientific name. And the common name is the common crow, CROW.
Oh, thank you.
This is a butterfly that I see almost every day, but never have I seen it in such spectacular glory as when she came out. I wonder if anyone knows, and maybe can put it in the chat if you do know, about distinguishing between the male and the female butterflies. Are there morphological differences like there are in birds, or is it something are they just the same? I'm
I
going to draw.
think it's normally in coloration, isn't it, with the majority of butterfly species, so that it's usually the male will be slightly more exuberant and a bit gaudier, and the female will be, just looking to check him out.
Isn't
Get
it
the best
funny?
one. The
Because
best one.
in the human species, it's the female that's expected to, you know, be showy and have the right clothes and put on makeup and whatnot. Um, but in the rest of the animal kingdom, it seems to be the other way around.
Yeah, got it wrong. Right.
I should have left some spaces for these circular blotches. These sessions have just given me so much joy. These journal together sessions, I've really enjoyed them. Last night, Jules, yours was, I just felt so relaxed afterwards.
Oh, well, I'm really glad, Bethan. I really enjoyed it yesterday. There have been some lovely sessions and some fabulous videos as well, to greet us every morning. So I think we've, had some real joy this year already.
Hmm. It's amazing to see everybody's pages, all the different pages and the different ways people do it. And it is like John Muir-Laws often talks about a nature journal being your brain on paper. And it does feel like that to me when you see someone's page. A lot of people, you see them, they're very organized, or some mine are all scattered and crazy. And I think it reflects, I wonder, I don't know, I've asked this of some people on the podcast before. Does your artwork reflect your personality? Jules, does your artwork reflect your personality?
I don't think so. No, I'm far too, yeah, no, you could have bullshit artwork. Probably it would too. No, I think I hide behind mine. It's a bit. But it is quite interesting, isn't it? You can tell. Oh, well, just noticed Brenda said, thank you, Brenda. She said that in butterflies, the antennae are a little different. Males have longer, thinner ones, but not as much difference as you see in moths. Thank you very much, Brenda. Didn't know that, so I learned something this morning as well.
That's interesting. My dad, who I told you about before, he used to, this is an interesting story. He was a very, very, very quiet person. He was famous for being, famous in our family for being super quiet. And yet his chosen profession was he was a salesman. And he used to sell all sorts of things at markets. Um, but sometimes he would exchange things with people who were in the market stalls next to him. And he once bought for me this silk scarf, and it had moths on it, and it was close up that view of um, moth wings, and they are intricately patterned and just so beautiful. And I knew it was moths because he told me, but and once I saw it, you could tell, but it was so artistic that it could have been something else as well. I'm just outlining the details of this beautiful creature, and then I'm going to put a little bit of color. So recently, um, I was inspired um, first by um, Kim Kim Lepere, who came to visit. She came up to Brisbane and she stayed with me, and we went to the rainforest together. And she had in her kit some coloured pencils, which I don't have in my kit. And it looked so easy and fun to use them. And so I was inspired to break out my coloured pencils again. And then I was also inspired by another Australian nature journaler, Paula Peters, who's amazing. And she often uses coloured pencils. So I've broken out the coloured pencils. Usually I'm all about watercolour, but today I'm going to do some coloured pencils. What I'm going to do now is I'm scared to draw a big I'm scared to draw a rectangle on my beautiful butterfly, but I think it's going to work out. I'm going to trust my instincts and do it. I'll just find a fatter pencil. I mean, fine
Oh,
line. I trust myself.
interesting what you said about the colour pencils because oddly enough, it's something else that I've recently been using mine, which I haven't used for absolutely ages. So maybe there's something
Yeah,
in the water.
coloured
And
pencil.
we've had more butterfly information. Thank you, Bethany, who has explained that different different shaped abdomen males have claspers, and each species has a variation in wing pattern and the colour between sexes. There's some more subtle differences. The differences are those. Cut my words out. Thank you, Bethany. And Diana has said she just found a very good website, the Australian Museum.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, this is also sometimes called an oleander butterfly, and it mentions the silvery, the sparkly pupa that you said that looked like it was almost like gold. So yeah, we're doing very well butterfly information this morning. I need to go away and do more butterfly research, I think.
I actually came across these were in my set, a gold and a silver, and I'm going to do the chrysalis, not tonight, but I'll do the chrysalis and see if I can capture some of that iridescent gold. Um, I came across the Australian Museum website because of finding the resources for this year's Nature Journal prompts, and yeah, they have some amazing things. So um, if you're looking at our website each day, and I fear that sometimes these get lost in the mix, but each day there is a whole load of extra prompts that if you scroll down on the day's page, you can find some resources there and some ideas that you might incorporate into your journaling. So there's some of the Australian Museum pages are linked there. it was kind of fun looking at the prompts from different angles. And today's metamorphosis and transformation, I was thinking about I was thinking about the way landscapes change and the way that um, the way that sometimes they find shells on the top of a really high mountain because it in the past was underwater, or whatever it is. Our landscape has been totally transformed over the millennia. Um, and Jules um, found a resource that was about metamorphic rock, how metamorphic rock forms, and that was a lovely spin on the metamorphosis idea. We should do something like this all the time. Like we should get together friends from overseas and we should spend our evenings and mornings this way hanging out. I like it. We should drink tea together.
Yeah, we should, yeah, perhaps through the year, just
Yeah.
like have a couple of sessions to keep everybody, if anybody wants to drop in and just just journal with each other. That would
Yeah,
be
like
a
a
lovely
journal,
idea.
a you know, quarterly journal together session or something.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We'll have to talk about that.
Yep, thumbs up. Excellent. I am finding this quite relaxing. They did that. There was a bit of a colouring in craze that went through the world at one point. Um, and it is quite relaxing. Usually I just like slap down some watercolor. But this is, I think I'm liking this pencil business. I've got my different colors. So I'm just layering up because I can see on this wing, whoops, I'm pointing, but it's not working. This butterfly's wing up the top, especially up here, is quite chocolatey brown. There's different browns, and I love anyone who knows me knows I love color. But I particularly love um, finding a subject that looks one color, like you might say this is black or dark brown, but actually there's so many colors here. This technique where you kind of do just one little detailed section is really good when you have a complex subject and you want to show the patterning, but you don't want to spend your lifetime doing the whole thing. And I think it looks kind of cool. So I'm building up the layers. I can see that kind of reddish brown popping through now. I would love to hear other stories of people if you've seen. I think some people keep monarch butterflies or raise caterpillars so they can watch the butterflies. I wonder if anyone has a story about that. I'd love to hear it. Use a darker color now. Butterflies are very, very elusive. This is one thing that, you know, it's hard to sit down and nature journal a butterfly from real life because they're just so uncontained. They just flitter about. They're even harder, I think, than birds. Birds it's hard to do in the field, but it's also, I think it's even harder to do butterflies. But that's actually quite delicious and delightful too because you can't contain nature. I'm doing these dark bits now. It's fortunate that my paper is cream colored, so I don't have to do anything to these little dots. I was talking to someone recently. I've opened uh my home studio to the public this month as part of the Sanford and Surrounds Arts Trail and Open Studios. And so I've been talking to a lot of people about nature, and um, now I can't remember why I started that story. Sorry, forget I said that. Some reason I it was to do with oh yeah. I was talking about giving over. Oh, maybe I was telling you. Maybe I'm completely forgetting where my stories come from. But I was talking recently about um giving over my houseplants to caterpillars sometimes because the caterpillars are so fascinating. So I put my houseplants, if it's raining and my houseplants need a drink, I'll take the lot of them. I've got a lot, maybe 15. And I put them outside and I let them drink from the rain because they seem to like it. But being out there, uh, they move really fast because then I'll bring the houseplants back in and they'll have caterpillars on them just from being out for one day. And inside, a few times I've noticed, and the evidence of it is that you get these little balls of caterpillar droppings. And I see that all over the floor. And then I know, oh, there's a caterpillar here. And um, um, these caterpillars that I saw, they were amazing. They were um, that big. How much is that? 3 inches. Um, and they had false eyes. So they were very long and like a third of the way down from the head, they had almost like this big um, false head. It's amazing what nature comes up with to trick predators, um, make themselves look fiercer or something. I don't know, but it was quite amazing. And so I left them on my houseplants. I thought, oh, you're so amazing. Um, I don't want to get rid of you. I want to see what you turn into because I didn't know what it was. And I felt like we had a deal. My deal was that I was going to sacrifice my houseplant for this beautiful caterpillar, and its side of the bargain was supposed to be to transform into something so I could watch it in Nature Journal. And it didn't hold up its end of the bargain. It ate my whole houseplant and then disappeared. I have no idea where it went because the plants were inside. But I felt very disgruntled. I was like, hey, we had a deal.
So we've got a few more comments coming in, Bethan. First of all, Ginny said that she loves your suggestion of drawing around a certain part and detailing that. I think that's really effective as well.
Right.
And some questions. So Deborah asked, do monarch butterflies live in Australia? And I said, I believe it's just in the Americas.
We do
And
have them, in fact, but they don't do the epic migration. Maybe it's warmer here, so they
oh,
stick around.
we don't have them in, certainly not not in the UK. They may be in some parts of Europe. I don't know. And
Mm.
Brenda has said she's in Santa Cruz and they have overwintering monarch butterflies, which must be amazing. I've seen pictures of that. They settle in large clusters hanging from trees, and it's amazing to be amongst them. And they have this incredible multi-generational journey to Mexico. I think
Oh,
I've seen a wild documentary about that. So yeah, it must be amazing, Brenda. That's absolutely fantastic. And Idrin said they went to the Butterfly and Otter Centre. Oh, that sounds lovely.
wow.
And saw a butterfly hatch cocoon.
Wow.
Ah, and Joe said, my day has just metamorphosed from dreary to inspirational.
Oh,
Thank you, Bethan.
that makes me feel
That's lovely, Joe. Thank you.
warm.
Oh, Deborah also has a she lives near a monarch butterfly grove in California, Gizmo Beach, and they overwinter near her. This must be just so incredible. They seem so exotic. All these butterflies seem exotic to me. Our butterflies are in England are not quite as fanciest these. They're
Tell
all
us about
beautiful.
tell us about yours, Jules.
Oh, we do. We have, yeah, we have a lot of butterflies. Well, not as many as we ought to have, but we still have a lot of butterflies. But I suppose on the whole tend to be a lot more muted colours. We have a lot of sort of brown butterflies, similar to this little fella. We do have some showstoppers, but they tend to be right in the south of the country, and it's quite rare that, where I am, you'd see something like a purple emperor. So yeah, but they're just fascinating things, aren't they? I've got a lot of woodland edge ones just outside, just on the edge of the forest here, and they sort of flutter quite weakly, but it's down the sort of forest path. But it gives you a good chance to see them, so that's good.
Mm. You've just reminded me of a field trip I did. Was super lucky to go on this field trip when I was in at university, and it was um, a biology field trip to the rainforest in Borneo, in Brunei, and um, there they have just it's so wild. I don't know if you've been to that part of the world before, but everything is either teensy tiny, like way smaller than you think it should be, or enormous, way bigger than you think it should be. So we saw um, micro squirrels, and we also saw like giant squirrels. Um, but we saw a butterfly there. I'm trying to remember its name. The Raja something. Anyway, it was so big. It was as big as a plate. And its wings were so unwieldy because it still had a normal butterfly body, but it just looked really spasmodic, or like it was not in control with its of its wings, because it was like one was flapping and then the other one was flapping, and um, it was because the wings were too big for its body. It was quite amazing.
Gosh, sure. Oh, Bethany has just, thank you, Bethany. I need to talk to you about butterflies because she obviously really knows her stuff. In England, we have painted ladies, which actually travel a longer distance than the monarch, and they're smaller. I did not know that. I really need to talk to you about butterflies. That's seen paint, but I didn't know that much about them. That's wonderful. And Susanna said she loves the idea of our UK No Mow week. It's No Mow May,
Yes.
um, and it is a really good idea. So we have this concept that people don't mow their garden lawns for the month of May, or you can encourage councils not to mow the grass verges, which is great. There is a bit of a school of thought now, though, that of course what happens is people don't mow for a month, and then suddenly June arrives, out they go, mow down the habitat,
Oh, okay.
possibly damaging those creatures that have made a home there. So I'm kind of like in a no mow summer at the moment. My house is full of
No
wildflowers,
mow
but I
lawn.
think yeah, just but I think it is a really important thing. At least it gets the message to people that it's so important to protect all of our spaces, no matter how small, so that we can, help wildlife and give it a chance. I don't know if anybody else who's here from the UK has got any thoughts about that they'd like to put in the chat. I'd love to hear what you think
I had an
as we're
we went to London, as I said, and I didn't know about Nomo May, and I don't know if this, because it was in June. Um, I don't know if this was just is now a council um policy, or if it was just neglect, but whatever it was, we saw lots and lots of places in London that were left and that had all sorts of flowering weeds, and it was beautiful. It was actually just really, really lovely. And I think that it should be encouraged. And I wonder if it was neglect or policy, but whatever, it doesn't really matter because it was there and it was gorgeous. Just in
oh, that's
the little bits of grass in between road islands or whatever. They were all flowering with weeds.
I think it also depends, really under whose jurisdiction you come. Some councils have been very supportive of it, and others not so much. And then you'll get, like angry posts, like you'll see them on Facebook and Twitter X and stuff, because the council has come along and mowed down this beautiful bank of flowers that was just looking amazing.
Mm.
Other, yeah, I don't know. Just got to keep at it, I think. keep keep fighting for nature.
I'm going to write this butterfly's name, and then maybe we can, maybe I'll stop sharing and we can share together. I'm really self-conscious about my handwriting, but when I opened my studio, someone said to me, "Oh, your handwriting's so neat and lovely." So I still think it's not, but that was nice. That was a little loose. Maybe it's because I write with a teeny tiny pen. Some of these scientific names are so strange. Euploia.
That's a very odd one. Oh, Claire, thank you. Claire just said that her villagers stopped mowing the verges, but a lot of people then complain it looks messy. Ah.
That's a mindset shift that we just have to.
No, that one, Claire. Thanks. Thanks for commenting.
No, what?
So sad.
Hmm. Does anyone else have the feeling that that International Nature Journaling Week came by really fast this year? This felt like we did it and then it happened again. I mean, in a lovely, delightful way, but it didn't feel like a year since we were together last time. So this is um my little common crow. It just brings up, it was a beautiful experience to read this because I haven't read it for a long time, but to remember that moment and taking a whole day really just sitting with my mouth open waiting for this thing to emerge, and then the moment it came out was um something else really. So yeah, there's a little technique that I have done before, but it reminded me to do it more often because I was thinking about the time we had together and I was thinking I can't do the whole thing. So I might just do that. And it actually is quite an effective little trick. So I'm going to stop sharing. And then
Just got a couple of final comments from the chat before we start, talking. And
yeah.
Ginny said that she was in Brighton in the UK once and saw and a historic building, a Regency lawn, grass turned deliberately into a meadow left unmowed, which is
Oh,
beautiful.
that's
And Deborah has said, not sure if we can get this if we're outside the United States, but there's a lovely book called Bicycling with Butterflies, isn't that lovely? By Sarah Dykema, documenting her travels along with the monarchs from Mexico to
oh,
Canada and back. So that's in the chat if anyone wants to have a look at that.
I
Or I
might,
don't know if the link.
I might copy the chat and put it as a PDF under our on the website under this video so that people who are watching later can find out the name and all the
That'd be
details that
fun.
Bethany has been providing about butterflies and everybody else as well. This has been so good. I'm going to go to gallery view and maybe we can see if anyone wants to share what they've been up to. You can put your hand up like that, or you can use the reactions button down the bottom and it's a raised hand. Hi, Kim, I didn't know you were here. Does anyone want to share what they've been working on? Hi, Kiki, I'm so glad to see you again.
Oh, sorry, last comment. Susanna said it would be lovely to create a short poem or a haiku to go along with that emerging butterfly. What a lovely idea, Susanna.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to write myself a note.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Kim, did I see your hand? Yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me spot you. Hi, do you want to? Oh, there you go.
Hello, yes, I joined a little bit late, but yeah. I have been working on my own. I took a photo of this moth when I was leaving work about a month ago. It was just on the path, and it was a little white moth, and I uploaded it to iNaturalist and worked out that it was a Bois Duval's autumn moth. So I thought, and I saw that they had a photo of the caterpillar stage. So I thought I would document that.
Oh, that's so good. Can you tell me, because I should know this and I don't, because so many nature journalists use iNaturalist. Can you tell me about how to use it and what happens in the process?
Yeah, so you can just take a photo on your phone, and then they've got an app as well, but you can upload the photos later through the website or through the app. And it uses AI based on the similarity of whatever you're looking at and your location to generate some ideas or suggestions for what the species is.
Okay.
Or you can just say like insect, or and then it's sort of out there in the world, and everyone, you can go to the website and you can just sort of identify or help identify things.
Yeah.
And once you get like 3 or 4 people who say, yes, I think it's this, then you get like research grade quality, or yeah. Okay. And so that's how people will say, oh, I think it's this moth. Yeah.
That's so cool. So kind of like Wikipedia for natural history, you know, where everyone's adding their expertise. That is so cool. Thank you for sharing, Kim. It's so nice to see you. Does anyone else feel like sharing their page? Yeah, Kiki. Let me spotlight you.
Morning, everyone. I had a very noble intention of doing transformation. I was like, what can I do? It's dry season in Grenada, so we don't have a lot of butterflies and things yet. Rain is going to come soon, we hope. But I did find a cashew. We have a cashew tree. And so for cashew, this was a transformation from the young fruit to the full fruit to the drying fruit, and then to the final stage where it's just the seed, the nut. So this is transformation, because you start with one and you go to the full, then it, right? So this was my intention, and I still plan to do it. But as Jules and Bethan know, I've been stuck on my mammy apple. So we found some young mammy apples.
Oh, cool.
So this is how the fruit looks. It's a little small, and then this is a cross section. So, and it smells so good. So this is what I actually did today for day 3. Which is the fruit and then the cross section.
Kiki,
but I do intend to do my transformation, Bethan.
Is that thing in the center? Is that the pit? Is it edible? Is that part edible? Is that the seed that you take out? Oh, we've lost you. Maybe you've lost me. I think I've lost connection. Uh-oh.
This is the full fruit, and then this is how it looks. So this is how we collect it. Let me just show you. This is how they look when you collect them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is how they look, and then they have to burn them and roast them to get the seed off it. The shell is very hard. It's very hard. So it's a lot of work.
That's a real process, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're delicious. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is
you're welcome.
That is amazing.
That is incredible. The very first time, I didn't know that I've eaten cashews for forever, but never really understood where they came from. And the first time I saw that big fruit thing with a teeny nut sticking off the bottom, I couldn't believe it. It's so weird and cool. Thank you. Thank you for showing us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Kiki.
I think my internet dropped off. I disappeared for a moment. I'm not sure what happened. Is there anyone else who'd like to share? No worries if you don't want to. It's been so nice. Joe, were you putting your hand up? Or maybe you were just raising. No. Oh, cool. Hang on, let me spotlight you. You don't have to say anything if you don't want. Oh, that's lovely. I love the color swatches. That's fantastic.
I've got sweet peas growing on my balcony that I've grown from a tiny plant. So I'm excited to see what colour sweet peas there will be.
Yeah, do sweet peas come out in different colors?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
pretty colours.
oh,
Some of them are very, very dark, actually. Some can be almost black. But I'm in UK. I don't know if you can grow sweet peas in Queensland. I used to live in Noosa,
did
and
you?
I don't think sweet peas would grow there.
Too warm.
Yeah, too warm.
Oh, thank you
So
for
that
sharing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love that we're getting a whole different cohort of people because the Europeans are awake now. Dane, hi. Do you want to unmute? Oh, I love your pages. You always bring so much thought to them. Do you want to talk us through it?
Well, I did share in the chat about when you mentioned that time is accelerating, time is speeding up, and we really need serious transformation
Mm.
in our own species.
Mhm.
But anyway, there's some of the joy of it, the baby with the grass,
Mm.
the adolescent with the leaf from the tree that's standing tall, the person at the summit of the mountain,
Mm.
uh, doing amazing salute to the sun with a handstand. And into the corner, there's a lot of grief.
Yeah. Your pages are amazing, Dani. Thank you for sharing. Take care. We'll see you. Claire, hi. Would you like to share?
Hi, yeah, I was just gonna, if you can see, I did,
Oh,
there you go.
there's
Just the butterfly you shared. So it was beautiful. And I really liked that you were saying about it kind of emerging all crumpled, because you always hear that sort of, oh, you know, the butterfly emerging from the cocoon, and it's brilliant. And actually the idea that it comes out the cocoon, it's just a kind of crumpled little sad looking thing, and then it actually needs the time to emerge, I thought was really interesting to learn about.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you. You've captured it beautifully, that whole process. Thanks for being here. Oh, everyone. It's so, so lovely. Is there anyone who would like to share before we get on with the next thing? Next thing for me is going to bed, but for a lot of you, it will be the day. Brenda? Hi.
Hey, hi, I've enjoyed joining in like this. I actually used to live in Highvale.
You did not. That's like 2 minutes from me.
I know. And I love the Gap. I used to take my kids to the Gap nature place the whole time. So
The
was...
Walkabout Creek.
Yes, yeah, fantastic area, fantastic place.
That is
so I haven't done much this morning. It's actually sort of 3 a.m. here.
3 a.m.
But I just began one. We have a particular oak tree, a deciduous oak tree in Santa Cruz, California, which starts off its leaves red, and then they go green later. They keep the same shape, but as they mature, they turn green. And I've just been puzzled as to, why do they do this? What advantage does that confer? Haven't actually researched that very far yet, but I don't know if anybody else might know as to why would they start off red? And if it does give it an advantage, why don't all trees do that? It's sort of, it's a bit like the eucalypt, eucalypts, the leaves will actually start off round and then they go elliptical later, which I always think is so fascinating. Why have two types of leaves on the same tree? Well, why would they bother to do that.
What an interesting observation. I'm fascinated now. We need to crowdsource the answer and put it somewhere so that we can find out, because it is opposite to the way you sort of think. You think it's going to be green and then turn red when it's falling, but it starts red and turns green. That is fascinating. Message me if you know, if you find the answer one day.
Yes, if anybody knows. Well, I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but
Yeah.
I haven't researched it properly.
Thank you so much for joining in and for sharing your page. Oh, this is so good. Like, just getting inspired by nature in other places and hearing about interesting things that are normal for one person and totally exotic for other people. Thank you so much for being here and for joining in with these sessions. They've been so much fun. Just a gentle way to connect and remember that we are actually a global community and that we have this chance to be together, to be inspired by each other, to learn from each other. It's been so good. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.